guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another week of What's for Dinner. I hope that y'all had a great week. This week I tried some new recipes and everything this week was delicious, so I can't wait to share with you the recipes that we had. If you're new here, hello and welcome. I'm Taylor and I share these What's for Dinner videos every week to hopefully give you some new meal ideas and motivate you to cook more for your family. As always, any recipes that I mention will be linked in the description box down below. Now let's go ahead and get into this week's What's for Dinner. Friday night started off with an easy instant pot chicken burrito bowl recipe. I've made this quite a few times in the past and it's definitely a family favorite because it's tasty and it's easy. So I started off by heating some oil in the bottom of my instant pot with that on saute on high, and then I added in some onion and garlic and just sauteed that until the onion was tender. Once my onions were softened, I added in some chili powder and cumin and let that cook for about 30 seconds until it was fragrant. And then I went in and added about 1/4 cup of chicken broth and made sure to scrape up any bits from the bottom of the pot. Then I added in my chicken. This is some boneless, skinless chicken thighs that I cut up into pieces and seasoned all over with salt and pepper. I added in some drained and rinsed black beans and corn. 16 ounces of salsa. You could just do a 16-ounce jar, but I had a huge jar, so I measured out 16 ounces. And then I stirred all that really well to combine it. And then I poured on 1 cup of rice and another 3/4 cup of chicken broth over that, and I just pushed that rice down into the broth. We're not going to stir this around, we just want it to be covered with the liquid. And then I put my lid on and put my pressure cooker on manual high pressure for 10 minutes. Once the cook time was over, I did a quick release, and once all that pressure was released, I opened it up and gave it a good stir. You could mix in some fresh cilantro if you want to, or even add cheese into it, but we prefer to add cheese on top, and I was actually out of cilantro, so I didn't add any cilantro to it this time. But after you stir it around, it is ready to serve. As I said, we like to do the cheese on top, so we've got some cheddar cheese on top. And then on mine, I've also got some sour cream and some red taco sauce. Saturday night, we had burgers for dinner. So I started off with about 1 pound of ground beef in a bowl. And to that, I added some salt and pepper and the seasoning from Wisconsin that I got. Usually I just like to do salt and pepper in my burgers, but I've been liking this seasoning and I wanted to use it in the burgers this time. So once I had that, I mixed everything around and then patted it out into 5 hamburgers. I like to get my cast iron pan good and hot over a medium heat, and then I like to go in with some bacon grease. I keep my bacon grease in a jar in the fridge for cooking burgers and eggs mostly. And so I add some of that to the pan and then I go on my burgers. My burgers usually take about 5 minutes per side in my cast iron pan over medium heat. And then when the burgers are pretty much done, while they're still in the pan and the pan's still on, I like to top them with my cheese so that it can get nice and melty. This night we had Gouda. And here is my burger. I had lettuce and tomato on there, and then I tried this chipotle aioli that I picked up at Aldi, but I think it's available everywhere. and then ketchup and mustard, and we all had some barbecue chips. Andy and Elijah and I had pickles, and Lily had some tomatoes. Sunday night I made a hamburger helper beef pasta, homemade. This, I was doubling the recipe because I was having my brother and sister over for dinner. My brother ended up not being able to make it because he blew a tire, and we ended up having too much food, but we ate the leftovers, so it's fine. So I started off by browning 2 pounds of ground beef with some salt and pepper, onion powder, and garlic powder. Once the ground beef was most of the way cooked through, I added in some minced garlic and let that continue to cook through. When the meat was done, there really wasn't that much grease in the bottom. I think it was like mostly water. So I just pushed it to one side and then used the paper towel trick to kind of stir it around and get whatever that liquid was up out of there. And then I stirred in 3 cups of beef broth and 3 cups of milk, as well as 3/4 of a bag of egg noodles. I will have this recipe listed out down below for the regular recipe, because as I said, I was doubling this. And I also stirred in some Worcestershire sauce, and then I brought that to a boil. Then I reduced the heat to low and covered this and let it simmer for about 7 minutes is what mine took. It might take a little bit less. I say between 5 and 8 minutes until your egg noodles are tender. In a small bowl, I whisked together some cornstarch and water, and then I dumped that in to thicken it up. I also tasted it to see if I needed to add any more seasonings, and I ended up adding a little bit more black pepper and a little bit more salt. And I just let that sit on low heat for about a minute or two to get nice and thick. This recipe was slightly different than the hamburger helper beef pasta recipes I've made in the past, and it was probably the best one I think I've ever made. As I said, I'll have the recipe listed out down below for you guys. Highly recommend trying this if you like hamburger helper beef pasta. It's about just as easy as making the box kind. To go with it, we had some peas and some buttered bread. It is Monday night, and tonight for dinner I am making lemon pepper, chicken thighs, and potatoes. So to start off, I am preheating my oven to 400 degrees, and on my sheet pan I lined it with some parchment paper just to make cleanup a little bit easier. I've got some chicken thighs, boneless, skinless chicken thighs. I'm going to season them all over with some onion powder, garlic powder, lemon pepper, salt, and pepper. And then I'm going to cut up these potatoes into like bite-sized pieces and toss them in this bowl with the same seasonings and some olive oil. And then I'm going to slice up some lemon and probably about half a stick of butter, and just lay all of that sliced lemon and sliced butter all over the potatoes and chicken. And then this is going to go in the oven for probably about 30 minutes at 400 degrees. This ended up taking about 45 minutes at 400 degrees. If you want to make it take a little bit less time, I think cooking it at 425 for about 30 minutes would be perfect. Next time I will be doing it at 425. And to go with it, I just made some green beans and used some of the same seasonings on those as well. If your family likes fresh green beans, I would recommend just throwing those on the sheet pan with the same seasonings with everything else. Tuesday night was spaghetti night, so we just had our favorite marinara sauce from Aldi with some ground beef that I seasoned up with some salt and pepper and garlic powder and onion powder over some spaghetti noodles with the Italian bread from Aldi, and then I used the Chef Chamois butter to make it into a garlic bread. Okay, it is Wednesday night, and tonight for dinner we are having our super simple, easy mock Thanksgiving dinner. I picked up these turkey breast tenderloins the other week at Aldi on markdown. It was like $5.50 or something after the $1 off. And so I'm going to cook this up in the air fryer tonight. I looked up online. It says to cook it at 350 for 25 minutes, flip it over, and then cook it for about 20 more minutes until it reaches the proper temperature. So that is what we are going to do. Cook it in the air fryer. It'll be super easy. And then I've got this turkey flavored stuffing that I got on markdown at Kroger for 29 cents. So we're going to make that. And I'm going to do it the easy way. That takes like 5 minutes. What do? Microwave it. Yeah, that's what I do when I make stovetop. I microwave it. So I will do that. And then I will make some turkey gravy. And I'm going to make a can of green beans. Andy wanted green bean casserole. But I don't like green bean casserole. And I don't feel like doing the work. Not at Thanksgiving for something that I'm not going to eat. So instead we've got green beans, and he can throw some crispy onions on there if he wants to, because I do have those. And then I'm also going to make a can of carrots, and then I just opened this can of cranberry sauce. It was the whole berry kind because that's all they had at this time of year. But I haven't actually ever had the whole berry from the can. The only whole berry I've ever had was like fresh homemade, and I didn't really care for it. But this is kind of like jelly with whole berries in it. So I think I might like this. But I just opened that and stuck that in the fridge so it can get cool. But I'm going to throw this all together. Okay, here is what those look like after I took them out of the package. They are honestly not much thicker than a chicken breast. It says only 350. Usually I think I cook my chicken breast at like 400. But I think I'm going to do 20 and then flip them over and then keep an eye on them and the temperature of them, because I don't know that it'll take more than another 20 minutes, so like a total of 40 maybe. But I will definitely update y'all and let y'all know exactly how long this takes for me. This is 1.5 pounds of turkey breast tenderloin. As I said, these are from Aldi. They're already seasoned. It says cracked pepper, perfectly seasoned, so there's more than just pepper on there. So I'm excited to try them. Okay, after flipping it over and putting it back in there, it only cooked for another 18 minutes, and it is right at 165 now. So I'm just gonna take this out and let it sit. It says for 10 minutes before slicing into it. And while I let that sit, I'm gonna make my gravy and my stuffing. This dinner was great. It was just what I wanted. I just wanted Thanksgiving food. And I would highly recommend this turkey. It was very, very good. It did not dry out. And it was so good with the gravy and the stuffing. And we even liked the cranberry sauce. All of this was just perfect. It is Thursday night, and tonight for dinner I am cooking in the air fryer again. Tonight we are trying air fryer garlic Parmesan pork chops. So I've got some pork chops here, boneless, and they're thawed out. and I'm going to coat them with a Parmesan panko breading. So in this bowl, I have 1 egg. I'm going to crack that and scramble it up. And I'm going to dip the pork chop in that, and then it's going to go in the breading. And the breading is going to be made with some panko, some Parmesan cheese, Italian seasoning, garlic powder, and salt and pepper. And then I will line those up on my air fryer tray and spray them with some olive oil cooking spray. And then those are going to go in the air fryer at 380 for 15 minutes, flipping halfway through, and then they should be done. So I think this is going to be super simple and delicious. These pork chops turned out great. They were crispy and still juicy on the inside. And then I made my Instant Pot mac and cheese to go with it. I used the last of some white cheddar, so that's why it's like kind of white this time instead of yellow. And then we also had some peas with it. And that is going to be it for this week's What's for Dinner. Let me know in the comments down below if you plan on trying any of these recipes. As I said, everything we ate this week was delicious. I hope that you guys had a great week, and I hope that you have a great upcoming week. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye!